According to writer and poet Samuel Johnson, he once said, "A man who has not been in Italy is always conscious of an inferiority from his not having seen what a man should see." This past summer, my wife and I and a bunch of our friends went on a study abroad trip to Europe, and while we were there, we spent quite a good amount of time in Italy. Now, if you're planning on going for a business trip or study abroad trip like we did to Italy, you should be prepared for quite a few differences. One of the first differences that you're going to find right off the bat is that their art is everywhere. One of the big places that you can see from its art is the history of this country. Some great examples are the Roman Forum, this great meeting place where sculptures and art and mosaics and relief were all added over time as this empire grew. In the first picture that you'll be able to see, another example is Trajan's Column, which is this magnificent triumphal column that details the conquering of the Dacians in the First and Second Dacian War by Emperor Trajan. It's this massive relief that shows these scenes, fantastic scenes of what has happened, and it really gives us insight into Roman history. Another thing you're going to be able to find is the architecture. The architecture is absolutely stunning. You know, if you go to some of the older cities such as Rome, of course you're going to find places like the Colosseum, like I said, the Forum, and all these crazy buildings that were built 2,000 years ago. But if you go to cities such as Florence and Venice, you're going to see this amazing Renaissance and medieval architecture. And then the last thing that you're going to see as you go around the streets is you're going to hear all this amazing music and see all these amazing paintings and just art as we think of it conventionally. There are so many great Italian composers and artists that have come out, and it's very apparent that the Italians love their art because it is everywhere you go. And speaking of which, one famous composer, Giuseppe Verdi, once said that you may have the universe if I may have Italy. And I think that really goes to show how much the Italians love their country and love their culture. Now, going and seeing all this is amazing and it's great, but it's very difficult in such large cities. And one easy way to do that is through all the eco-friendly cars and public transportation that the country of Italy has. The country of Italy is very much progressing and moving forward to as eco-friendly of an environment as they can make. And one of the best ways they're doing it is through their transportation. One thing that you're going to find very little of, at least something that I never saw personally, was pickup trucks. Nobody drives these large vehicles like we have in the US that guzzles gasoline. They all have eco-friendly cars, or they use public transportation. You can take the metro, you can take the bus, you can take all these different kinds of environmentally friendly ways to get from point A to point B, and it's extremely efficient. Another thing that they're efficient about is their water conservation. All the hotels that we went to had policies on how much water you could use. It seems crazy, but it works, and it keeps you from going to the excess. Another thing are public bathrooms. Here in the United States, we can go to any restaurant, any gas station, fast food place, and just ask to use the restroom. And most of the time, no one's going to care. You just go use the restroom and you're done. But over in Italy, if you want to use a restroom, first off, they're very difficult to find. Public restrooms are not easy to find, and once you do, you have to pay to use them. And we found out after asking questions that this money goes back in to help funnel, research and building for more eco-friendly environments so they can reduce their costs and help make the planet a better place. And one of the last ways, and this is going to be, at least in my opinion, the most mind-blowing part, is their energy efficiency. At the hotels, one, they didn't have air conditioning, which is a huge shock. But when you go in the hotel, you have to use your key card to get electricity. You put it in the slot, you can turn on the power, and then when you leave, all the power gets shut off. Now, after you've been spending a lot of this time in Italy, moving around, it's going to give you quite a big appetite. I know that it gave me quite a big appetite, at least. Alicia Cuthbert once said, "There's nothing more romantic than Italian food." And that is very, very true. But what's not romantic is the service. tipping's not expected, and it's very surprising, to me at least. And the quality of service is much different. They don't really come and check on you every moment of the day. The portion sizes also aren't very good. As you'll see, a normal Italian meal is pretty small. It's not super generous like we get in the United States. And lastly, when you get up for breakfast, you're not going to have all these meats. You're going to have bread and pastries, and it's very good. But the hardest part for me was going for my coffee, and I can't get a full cup of coffee. You get espresso, this very small shot of very, very strong coffee. But overall, the country of Italy is great. It's an amazing place. It's a great time. But when you go, be ready because it's quite the culture shock. Good luck and have a great trip.